So my good buddy Matt Harmatuk, we do all these Ironman races together. We had a pretty busy year. We had done a couple of Ironmans in a year, and we had the opportunity to run Boston. We're like, yeah, I mean, who's going to turn that down? And so we were able to run for a charity, raise some money, and go do the race. It was a great win for both of us. During that year, we were fatigued. It was coming off of a Ironman Cozumel, I believe, coming off a couple of months after that, and we were just really tired. We both were hurting a little bit at the end of the race, and at that time he was, his leg was just getting tired, and mine was too. And so he was like, I got to walk it out a little bit. I was like, yeah, man, let's walk it out. And sure enough, of course, me and my social media and my camera, he was like, why don't you take a picture and do some video? I was like, yeah, we always do the adventures of Dave and Matt. And so we get this going on. We pop out the camera. We're talking, we're walking. It's the last stretch of I forget the street, but it's that long, like mile 25 that you run into the city. And we kind of pick up the pace again, and we hear these, this what we thought was a firework. We're figuring, well, it's at the end of the race. There's some fireworks going off on the river. Like, that's kind of cool. Then we hear another one, and we're like, well, okay, still wasn't anything because it was a big event. You would expect, like, at a baseball game, you hear fireworks. At the UT game, you hear fireworks when the Star Spangled Banner goes on. And we get to a point just right up underneath the bridge, which is, less than probably half a mile to a quarter mile away. And there's a police officer in the road, and he stops us, and he said, you guys, you cannot go to the finish line. And at that point in time, that's when things kind of started getting surreal. You started hearing, the fire trucks and all the sirens start to ramp up, and they're just hauling, past us, and they're going towards the finish line. And I look at Matt, and luckily Matt is, he's military and an amazing officer in the Austin Police Department as well. And so, I felt really secure around him, and it's like, dude, like, what do you think's going on? He's like, I don't know. And it's just slowly and surely, like, all the runners were coming in, and there was a lot of, like, what I call carnage during the race. Is like, there were people like cramping up, they were cold, they were needing, they were water, and it's just not something you think about when you're trying to finish a marathon of like a bombing going on. And so once we figured it out, it's like this big mass of people, and there's this one picture that I think it was pretty popular. Is that right up underneath the bridge, there's like one officer, and he's just like holding up his hand, and there's just like thousands of runners that were right there. That's where we were. And at that point in time, I was like, Matt, what do we do? And he said at that point in time, he switched over into military mode, and we got out of the crowd and started walking around. We made our way around the finish line. It was one of the most eeriest scenes I've ever seen. And if you ever been around a finish line, there's all sorts of activity, music blaring, and it was nothing. Like, just the street was, a movie scene. Papers just flowing across the street with the breeze, you name it. And they were trying to evacuate the area. We'd lost contact with a couple of our friends that were doing the race as well. And luckily we were able to all meet up back at the hotel. There were, a couple of people that were really close to the bombing. There was one of our friends' wives that actually had some of the shrapnel on her pants, and very, very challenging situation with that year. But luckily and amazingly, the Boston Marathon Association decided to let everybody that didn't finish the race that year come back, because we're not going to let terrorism stop whatever we love to do. And of course, me and Matt were like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're not going to let them win.
Yep.
If we figured out when we get scared to do what we want to do, then they win, and we're not going to give them that opportunity. So it was amazing to go back and see the city thrive, and with everything they'd gone through, and the runners just came close together, and it built up this energy, and it was really amazing. And once we finally finished the race, it was great. I know for me it was a ball of emotions, and I cry like a drop of a hat. So it was, that's just who I am. And my buddy looks at me and he's like, oh, gosh, he does it all the time. So, but it was great. It was a great personal triumph. It was a great race to finish and finally be part of history. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience to be a part of that and just kind of go through that. So yeah, just one event in my life.